Ladies and gentlemen, Dan Carter.
You know, we're storytellers. We love telling stories. Through education comes opportunity. I want to tell you a story about an individual that has to walk 5 miles every single day to get clean drinking water. I'm willing to work as hard as it takes to change a nation. Holy smokes. How many of you are Seinfeld episode fans? Got a lot of Seinfeld. Do you remember George always said, let's go out on top? So I'm just going to say goodnight and thank you very much.
He is an author. He is a national speaker. He is a television producer and host. And he truly believes that we can all do better.
I think that we can change our nation. I think we can change our streets, our families, our communities, our businesses. I truly believe that we will actually change the way that we look at our future. We have to look at the world not as it is today, but how the world can be tomorrow.
Dan has dedicated his life to becoming more knowledgeable about issues that face communities each and every day.
You know, in the last 25 years, the same experts that say that we are going to face hard, difficult, changing times, by the way, they have said at the same time that we have seen more change in the past 25 years than we did in the previous 100. And when we look at that statement, we have to agree. And I once heard someone say to me one time, you know, Dan, great leaders are created in hard, difficult, and changing times. Martin Luther King had his house bombed. Death threats on a regular basis. His children were bullied. He was spat upon. The hoses, the dogs. He was sent to jail. He was stabbed where if he had sneezed, he would have died. A great leader in hard, difficult, changing times. In our history book, he brings every characteristic of the type of leader that we need today. Martin Luther King didn't do things easy. He said, I have a dream. I have a dream that our nation can truly live up to its full potential. And that's the dream I have of Durham Region, Ontario, Canada, the United States, and this world. Great leaders see an opportunity to plant the seeds of hope. They hear the stories. They see the opportunity. They inspire and motivate us to act. Imagine that. A great leader hears a story about that individual that walks the 5 miles looking for water. They see an opportunity to change that person's life. They inspire and motivate us to act, even though we don't know their names, where they live, their family history, the hurdles that they face. We act because leaders have a way of inspiring the best in us.
When you've experienced the life that Dan Carter has experienced, you have no choice but to have a story that will inspire.
We can learn so much from these young lives. You know, the Refuge, for those that do know or don't know, the Refuge has young people that call the streets in Durham Region home every single night. Between 85 and 95% of those kids are either physically or sexually abused. Many of them are pushed out of the family homes that they once called home because of different circumstances, but now they find themselves on the streets, not only here in Durham Region, but all across the province of Ontario. Just think for a moment. Imagine if we're able to inspire each one of us at the table today to one act of kindness over the next 12 months, how we could change this community. Think about that just for a moment. We could change people's lives. Imagine we will look back in the history books of the year 2008, 2009, and we will say, do you remember then? They were a time when our whole community answered the call of leadership and we did things differently.
Dan's a sought-after speaker who shared his message with corporations, churches, community agencies, service agencies, and a multitude of charitable organizations.
I don't want this to end today. I want us to carry this message across the nation. I want to create a tsunami of change. I want us to start having kitchen table discussions about the communities and the people that live right next door. How many of you truly can look at this world today and say, I do not look at the world as it is today, but what we can be tomorrow? because we know the history books have shown us that great leadership is created in hard, difficult, and changing times. God bless and thank you for your time.